Greetings and welcome to all who are listening to this transmission. We are stepping into the very powerful, dynamic and quite dramatic phase of the global ascension. And at the moment, seen from the perspective of the sun activity, Earth electromagnetic field, all these thunderstorms, we are actually having a real cosmic fireworks and a laser show all at once. The purpose of this transmission today is to give us a bit of oversight or higher perspective about the happenings with the intent to absolutely drop the resistance and drop the fear response to these effects. All that is going on is perfectly normal, natural, beautiful, amazing, and our entire system is reconfiguring its electrical and magnetic fields. When you look at the aspects that we are discussing from the perspective of the higher science, it really is a party, it's really something to be celebrated. And this is exactly what we are intending to do over this intense period of time. Whenever you hear fear-based warnings and so forth, which might be coming from the media or from the scientific research aspects, let us just not buy into the fear. Let's share the respect for the science, but at the same time understanding that our world is changing its dynamics so much that we cannot expect anymore to meet or match the actual criteria that we used to have in the past. So you have certainly heard that the sun is currently creating very potent cosmic storm, and the magnetic activity of the sun itself has changed and is surprising our scientists. Last month, the higher intelligence shared information with all of us that the Lion Gate, which is usually the configuration of particular constellation that allows this pulsing of potent energy on Earth and usually closes towards the end of August, now stays open. We have reached that threshold, and now the Earth plane is literally receiving much higher energetical impact than ever before, and it will continue in the future in perfectly divine ways. So at this point, being through this open gate, we have immediately experienced the new phenomena where our sun, that is normally going through the cycles of 11 years of activity, 11 years of passivity, which makes 22 years of the sun cycle, is now literally coming towards the end of its active cycle, so it was not expected to create such a potent magnetic show. However, it did. The sun in the core is obviously creating the magnetic field, and because sun is not solid, it's actually like a plasma and gas and liquid moving in the very dynamic way. The electromagnetic field of the sun is not that stable or predictable as the one on the Earth plane. And the scientists have recognized now that the magnetic field of the sun is the vortex field. They explain it as like a rubber band that can be stretched between the south and north pole, and like a twisted. And it was very beautiful to receive information some years ago, around 2012, that the actually Earth field was also stepping from the polarity field into the unified magnetic field. So with that activity, the sun created on the surface a very potent sunspot. And these are the magnetic activities of the sun when they resurface with such a potency that that field itself is big as 10-11 times the size of the Earth. So once this entire magnetic energy starts focusing in this particular area, it may erupt, create on one level electromagnetic wave, but on the other level actually push matter from the surface of the sun up into the cosmos. And this matter or protuberance, which is scientifically known as, is actually big as a 30 to 40 Earths. So imagine that the mass of the Earth 30-40 times higher is actually shooting out into the space. So these two phenomena are literally bringing so much more of the electromagnetic energy on Earth that the X radiation, these waves from the sun, these storms, have their graduation, and X is one of the really strong ones. So we are experiencing now X10, which is a very, very potent. This one in turn is starting to change the magnetic field of the Earth, and we've been told many, many times by the higher intelligence that the magnetic field of the Earth is growing in its dynamics, it's changing, it's shifting, because the feminine, divine feminine energy is now re-establishing her work, her dominion, her presence on the earth plane. The divine feminine also manifests as a powerful magnetic field, where the electrical field of that particular part of the cosmos is immediately following the strengthening of the magnetic field. So this is the key for all of us to understand that the scientific thought forms are, because of the bombardment of this high rays and the bombardment of all these particles from the sun, that magnetic field of the Earth is weakening, and we are losing our protection from the cosmic radiation. Divine intelligence is wanting us to know that this is not dangerous, this is just a change. And because the science cannot measure or see the entire shift, they are afraid that particular changes may have the negative impact on Earth. Please stay assured that they are not, and this is all very divinely orchestrated aspect of like a growing and expansion. It is wonderful to finally see the modern science starting to confirm all the higher knowledge that the light workers have been receiving over the decades, and we have been sharing, obviously, but it's lovely to see that this is now confirmed, and the fields are actually showing up in a way that was given to all of us, for all of us to understand. So with this powerful energy right now, the cosmic waves are creating that level of radiation that can be compared with the X-ray machines here on Earth, or those devices that are used on at the airports to check on the luggage. So it's a very powerful output of the rays. However, they are not dangerous for us. They are actually very welcome, because they are creating very powerful shift and change of every aspect of magnetism in the human body, in the Earth herself, and various other planets. So at this point, the higher intelligence is giving us few types of self-help skills, which we are going to share shortly after we complete the explanation about these powerful cosmic events. And the other aspect of the Earth presence is like absolute bombardment with the energies of the matter that went out from the sun. And once it is hitting the atmosphere of the Earth, is ionizing our atmosphere much stronger. So the magnetosphere of the Earth is having a bit of a beating. Already science has determined that there have been electron and proton belts that have been disturbed, and in an interesting fashion, as much as they are disturbed by this phenomena, they actually reposition themselves and like reconfigure themselves. So that is exactly the point. Everything is in a state of reconfiguring. We are not going to have any big catastrophes. The planet is simply absorbing more energy. The planet is growing, and so are our systems and our bodies. So do not be afraid of the global warming, of these electrical storms, of the geomagnetic activity, but just be aware and allow them in the body. Just allow all these energies to step through the system and to be dynamically utilized. That is when you become really healthy, strong, and aligned with the new field. one of the first ways of help that the Divine is giving us in this effect is to receive the codes. We are right now being given the codes for rebirth, or RE-NATA. Rebirth codes meaning we have arrived on this earth in one body with particular programming. We have lived that sequence of events and the electromagnetic activity until now. Now all of that is changing and closing, and we are stepping into our next level, the new beginning. So the RE-NATA codes or rebirth codes are vitally important, and every being on this planet is given an opportunity to consciously choose and accept and utilize the RE-NATA codes. So how is all this happening on the from the Earth perspective? On the 23rd of September, we are coming to the very particular pinnacle, which is like a highest, if you like, the energetical impact that has been building up over these several years, months, and especially over this month of September. So the solar activity and the heightened magnetic field are now starting to swell the atmosphere. So all of the fields on Earth are receiving extra energy, excess energy. It is just like becoming like a bubbling system. So these energies are allowing the system to change the frequency, and at the same time is allowing all of us to reconfigure on the next level of our destiny. So if there were codes that governed us until now, at this point we are receiving the codes that are going to govern us from now on. So that's why on the 23rd of September there is a phenomenon that has been prophesied many times through various prophets, and also it's mentioned in the Bible, which we are going to call the Grand Virgin in the sky. You can certainly hear the rain here in New Zealand. We had a very interesting weather pattern in this month of September, either strong sunshine bringing the codes, or the following day would be strong rain, storm, and electrical activity in the air. All of us who are working at the portal, because as mentioned many times, New Zealand is a very potent transmitter and like a resonance fork for these new energies, and we are receiving various activations. So the portal, which is the unified or vortex portal, which is starting to resonate various energies for the entire humanity, located here in New Zealand, is receiving these codes at its optimum. So on the 23rd, we will be at the portal again, receiving these codes directly on the energy lines of the portal. And that is the day of actual equinox. That is the day of that configuration which we call the Virgin in the sky, when the constellation of the Virgo and Leo are going to be in a very unusual correspondence with each other, where Leo is almost like a crowning the Virgo. So the Virgo appears like a powerful feminine with now the crown or halo becoming activated. And that crown consists of various stars from the constellation of Leo and the 3 planets from our own solar system that are all receiving extreme magnetic activity at this point of time. They are the Venus, Mars, and the Mercury, so the masculine, the feminine planet, and the planet of a dramatic change. At the same time, the Sun is found in the forehead of the constellation of Virgo, and the Moon at the feet of the so seen shape of this constellation in the sky. So we are having quite a spectacle. But to add to everything, because this constellation is happening every now and then, every 7,000 years, just like a blink of the eye for the universe, But at this point of time, it is very unique because the comet, which is identified as a comet Borisov, is actually passing through these two constellations exactly on the 23rd, and feels like it is moving from Leo and falling directly into the area which is like a womb of the goddess of the Virgo, of the Grand Virgin. And at that very time when the comet passes through, the planet Jupiter literally falls into the uterus of the Virgo. From that point, the comet does not return to our system ever again. This is just one-off situation, and that's why it is a real like a cosmic celebration and very unusual and interesting event. But from that point when Jupiter is found in the uterus, it remains there for 42 weeks. And 42 weeks is literally the gestation period of the human being. So in a way, it is like a rebirth of humanity, like a rebirth of this entire consciousness of the earth plane. Within this next 9 months, from 23rd onwards, we will be given 8 different circuits of the new vibrations for humanity. On the 23rd, we'll receive the seedlings for our personal bodies, for the groups, for New Zealand, and for the humanity in general. And after that, we're all called upon being very available, very aware, very present for the processes that are going to continue from this point onwards for 9 months. Every month we will be given one specific circuit, and they are going to recalibrate the entire way how human race operates, how our minds are working, how the thought forms are working, how the physical bodies are working, how the energetical aspect of ourselves, our systems are manifesting and unfolding. They're going to change the way how we do healing, politics, economy, food preparation, and how we utilize nutrients, relationships, parenting, you name it. Absolutely everything within the human consciousness is going to be recalibrated. That's why the 23rd of September, the Grand Virgin, is like pressing a reset button on our global consciousness, on our global computer, and installing the new programs. So can't be more exciting unless it will be. In the future, we are going to receive more and more and more of the cosmic events that are now consciously accepted, and we work with them and utilize them in a very, very powerful, conscious way. So now, what are the implications for us who are the beings in transition during this period of time? Divine intelligence is firstly and foremostly suggesting that we receive the codes. First and foremost, that is your new program. If you are joining us on the 23rd, or some of the groups, or receiving some of the coding through these transmissions and so forth, be aware that there will be more and more sharing from now on, as the Divine Intelligence wants that to spread further. You might be given other ways, or utilize other channels or light workers, or however your higher self is going to guide you. But the most important thing is to absolutely consciously receive the codes. That's number one. Second aspect is to be very present with the energies and not to block them. Just allow them in your body. We are going to start receiving pranic force from the earth. Firstly, there is a huge change into the electrical dynamics of the earth. So there are like a microcurrents that the modern science is now discovering are being now initiated under the earth's surface. So allow those in the body. Allow the ionized air from the atmosphere to be received directly, and to be received also through the breathing, through the breath, and also with the magnetic field, which is our own magnetic field, which is like a chalice or a grail. That's our holy grail, our magnetic configuration. We become stronger and stronger magnetizing beings. We are allowing the cosmic energies to flow through our system. So all this high ionization and this excess of the cosmic radiation is very good for us. We need it at this point of time to give further birth to our or further development, so to speak, of our light bodies, and every cell in our system is going to be extremely happy to receive this updated level of energy. It's like an extra fuel. If you've been operating on say petrol, now you're going to the kerosene, or becoming really like rocket fuel fueled in your system, simply because you need it, because this new energy is vitally important for our new way of life and evolution. Other aspect which is given as self-help is to literally allow the water, the minerals, the liquid minerals, and the high frequency sugars to be every day ingested. Although be aware that the old digestive system is like a dinosaur now when it comes to ingesting energies. That the body is literally using more energy to digest solid foods than it is actually taking energy from them. So it is very important to continue having some of the ordinary nutrition, but be aware it is not enough to sustain the growing light body. So get yourself coded to be able to receive these energies directly in the system, take them through the breath. And one of the self-help interesting aspects that Divine gave us now is a little trick which requires to use the sea salt. So not the table salt with iodine and aluminium salts, just very pure, very good sea salt, and take one like a handful and place it in your socks. So this is not to be on the table, it's going in your socks. And you can walk on it if you want to do that outside, walk in your socks on the ground directly. The salt will activate the 70,000 nerve endings that are found in the feet, and is going to spark the electrical energy in the body, and will be able to transmit to you the earth electricity, the fine currents under the earth core. You can receive this by walking barefoot as well, but the salt is a very powerful transmitter, and Divine Intelligence advice was to utilize this for the days to come to recharge the body with the electrical spark. You can also heat up the salt in the evening and use it under your inside your socks and under the feet while you are sleeping, but always at the end of the process just wash it out, and you'll be having the benefits of this process. The last aspect which the universe is now reminding us to be very, very, very mindful of is the aspect of using our consciousness. Consciousness is pivotal, and if there is anything in this world that you want to change, do not buy into its intensity or its appearance. Straight away utilize the divine force of change, transmutation, and allow the energies to immediately change and transmute that particular agenda that the universe brought to your attention. That applies to your own relationships, to the old aspects of your body. Lots of people will experience physical symptoms, and that is because our organs and systems made of multitude of cells at some point will find themselves half of the cells are already under the new management, so they are stepping into the new code and the new grid, where some of the rest of the cells will be still operating in the old way. That organ or system will be in between. So until it catches up and the entire function recalibrates, just be patient with yourself. Do not condemn the symptoms. You will find that even if you try to apply some of the old-fashioned ways to shoo the symptoms away, they are not even working anymore. So you'll simply need to go through the process process of allowing the completion of this recalibration. So welcome and join us on the 23rd at the Botanical Gardens and at the temple, Lemurian temple that we are going to choose on that particular day. And utilize all these codes and this information that are coming to you, maintain the very stable and positive outlook, and let us all celebrate and enjoy these cosmic events, because they are bringing an amazing change, and we have been waiting for a long time for this configuration and for these changes to occur. Karaira, Karai Raman.